I'm sorry. We have major breaking news on 105.3 The Fan.
All right.
Breaking news on 105.3 The Fan is presented by BetQL. Smarter bets begin with BetQL. Download the BetQL app or visit BetQL.com today. Who is this coming from?
This is coming from Texas Rangers PR on Twitter.
Okay.
The Texas Rangers tonight announced that the club has agreed to terms with free agent right-handed pitcher Jacob deGrom on a 5-year contract.
You know who to call, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Get him on the line.
Wow.
So,
oh, boy.
pitching.
Jacob deGrom.
Pitching coming.
Okay.
Pitching coming.
Pitching is coming.
All right, so let's knock out the rest of these bowl.
Boy.
You want to knock out the rest of these bowl predictions? Because look, I think we all know how this game is going to end, right?
Wow.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. The Cowboys are a -11. I'm taking that. I'm putting that down.
Oh my God.
And when it comes to the bowl predictions,
I'm sorry. Time out. The numbers are in. The numbers are in on the deal.
Okay.
It is a 5-year deal.
Okay.
$185 million. It includes a 6-year option, conditional 6-year option that would take the total to $222 million.
Ball out there, Ray Davis.
With a full no trade clause.
Put the money on the table,
Let's
Ray
go
Davis.
then. Spend that money, Ray.
Big Bank Ray Davis said he get himself a pitcher, buddy.
Wow.
He said we go sign Martin Perez back, check, and we gonna add an ace on top of that. How you like that? Hold on.
Wow. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that to stop down because that's coming from Jeff Passan of ESPN.
Thank you, Jeff Passan, and we will be talking to our Rangers insider, Jared Sandler, right now. Is he on the phone yet,
We'll
Medford?
get him on the phone when you hear this.
Bowl predictions.
I'm sorry, continue.
Bowl predictions. Matt Ryan gets sacked 6 times. I'm with it. CeeDee Lamb, 150 yards, 2 scoring touchdowns. How you feel about that?
I like it. This offense should go off. I mean,
no Shaquille Leonard, which I mean,
no Shaq Leonard.
That seems to be like the standard.
This Cowboys offense should have a field day. Running the football, being able to get things going in play action with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. This feels like a game where you could put it all together in every facet of the game, including possibly even on special teams this weekend as well.
Should we just come back to this later? Because my heart's not in it.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'm glad you said it before me because I'm like, now hold on, man.
From the 940, deGrom, now go get Rodon, and we coming for you, Houston. That is a great deal compared to what he was expected to get. LFG. Dog, I stopped at the deGrom thing. I did not consider, they are not done by any means, right? Like they could still be in this thing because what we heard that. Remember when Ray Davis was actually in front of a microphone? That was not a thing that we had a lot. When he was asked about these things, he's like, I still anticipate spending some money. Now, they didn't say that they was going to spend the same kind of money as they did when they dropped $500 million to make sure that the middle of the infield was straight. But if you starting with $200 million right now on the ace, there's still some things that you can afford to do. But yes, they are immediately trying to go ahead and get jumpstart this rotation, which was something that was a problem. And I get you from the 214 where you say, chill out. That's not that's the same thing that happened with the Broncos last year. Obviously, I'm guessing the idea was, when you sign him, you're just going to end up in this situation where he's going to be great. And when you got Russell Wilson, he was not the same, guy, or he was not the same guy you were anticipating. I don't feel like that's the same for Jake deGrom. Do you?
No, and I got to stop down for Chris Young here because let me tell you something. What Chris Young said that he was going to do, he has done it. When he said going into the winter meetings, and the owner, at the end of the year and then going into winter meetings and now the GM meetings that pitching was the #1 priority, he meant it. And now I don't think about just what you've done and bringing back Martin Perez. You still have a chance to go get, Rodon. But you think about the future that's coming behind Jacob deGrom and Martin Perez with the Jack Leiters of the world, the Kumar Rockers of the world. Like there is a lot of young talent in this farm system that either if you decide to continue to go down the road in developing that young talent to get them to the big leagues, or you parlay that talent into a possible major trade to acquire, another major star. the Rangers are in a fantastic spot for their present and now their future with the way that they have gone about it the last 2 off seasons. Corey Seager and Marcus Semien last year, and now you go get arguably the biggest prize in the pitching market in free agency, and you do so with a massive commitment. 5 years, $185 million, could go all the way up to $222 million if you add the 6th year on there. And he's got a full no trade clause. So Jacob deGrom sounded like he got everything and then some from the Texas Rangers, and they spent the money.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought up, the prospects that the Rangers have, but because this actually makes me kind of happy about the mindset that at least what I perceive to be the mindset of the Rangers organization at this point, because Martin Perez was your starting pitcher, your number 1 starting pitcher, and I guess some people will use the term ace. I'm a little fuzzy on that, but that's neither here nor there. They signed him back because you want him back. He's a leadership type guy, and he clearly can still pitch the ball at a high situation. But do you expect him to play at that same exact level to be like your clear-cut number 1 starter? Maybe, maybe not. But now you sign Jacob deGrom, and he doesn't have to be that. If there's some level of slip, he is still a good number 2 starter. You feel what I'm saying? And at this point, I think that also allows everybody to cool down just a little bit on the idea that, these young cats got to come up immediately. You know what I mean? Because I think we started getting to that point where people were, marking days off of their calendar as to when Jack Leiter might come up or when Cole Winn might come up or when, you know what I mean? Like people started doing that thing. And I think this also allows folks to maybe calm down a little bit on the idea that you have to rush those guys through and allow them to develop to their fullest potential. This is fantastic news.
And again, the deal coming in for Jacob deGrom, this coming from Jeff Passan in terms of the numbers on the deal. Texas PR has already put out the statement as far as them signing Jacob deGrom, but the commitment in terms of the years and dollars, 5 years, $185 million. He has already passed his physical, and the deal is done. It includes a conditional 6th-year option that would take the total deal to $222 million. That also includes a full no-trade clause, an absolutely massive haul for the Texas Rangers. Jacob deGrom has now become the newest member of the Texas Rangers. Of course, the Rangers committing over $500 million to Corey Seager and Marcus Semien last year. Now they build with their pitching staff and adding Jacob deGrom, who on that 5-year, $185 million deal has no deferrals. So between that and no state tax, that money is ginormous.
Ooh, okay. The immediate excitement, I'm not saying is wearing off, but I'm starting to think about some of the potential downsides of this. And okay, we're going to have to talk to Jared Sandler. Let's talk to Jared Sandler next segment. How about that? Let's talk to Jared Sandler next segment. And I know y'all are clamoring for it. We'll get the details about it. We'll talk about the ups, the downs, all of those things with the Jacob deGrom signing. The breaking news right here on 105 through the Fan that Jacob deGrom is a Texas Ranger for the next 5 years. With that being said, do you feel up to going back and talking some more Cowboys? How do we want to play this?
First of all, I'm just floored.
Yeah, I know.
I'm floored because
breaking news is like, I don't know if y'all feel this, right? Like y'all feel the excitement. We also feel that, but we also have to try and like do our jobs at the same time. And right now, I don't think I'm doing a good job.
Well, here's the reason why I'm floored by this, because we have seen how the timeline has gone over the last 3-4 years with this team. And the criticism, the very loud criticism of Ray Davis in this organization for their lack of spending money. And in 2 off seasons, the perception of this organization has changed completely. And here's where I go with this too. Bruce Bochy being brought in. You didn't bring Bruce Bochy in to manage a team that was just up and coming. If he was going to come out of retirement where he was out of the game for a couple of years, it had to be for a team that was going to be as close to winning a World Series championship as it possibly could be. You took another major step toward that tonight by bringing in Jacob deGrom. And as you mentioned, the Rangers may not be done in terms of spending that money, because it clearly is a signal to the rest of Major League Baseball that they are willing to spend it. And that means individuals like Rodon and others are now fully in play based on what the Rangers have done just tonight by signing Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, and in some ways, there's a risk to it, right? Jacob deGrom hasn't played over, he's like his last 3 seasons When it comes to innings pitched, 68 innings in 20, which of course shortened season, 21, 92 innings, and last season 64 and a third inning, right? So this is not a dude who has played a lot of baseball, and in last season he had a 3 ERA, which, I mean, you're not nothing to sneeze at, but it's also not necessarily the Jacob deGrom that you expect. He's had one season that's higher than that in his career. So, like, are you getting a dude who is going to pitch all of the innings for you? And also, are you getting a dude who might be starting to trend downward in part because of those injuries? I think those are questions to ask. I'm not trying to imply one way or the other what the answer will be, but these are all questions that you have to ask. And the big money, in addition to the idea that they cannot be deferred, makes this a big swing, a big gamble that you are taking. But I mean, I think the excitement that is here, that matters when you're considering all these things, right?
And here's the thing, you know, people will balk at the idea of the amount of money and the years because they look at deGrom at 34 years of age, and he is now what? Now 4 years removed, going into, I guess now 3 years removed from his Cy Young Award winning year back in 2019, where he won back-to-back Cy Youngs in 18 and 19 for the New York Mets. And of course, that 2018 year had an ERA of 1.70, then backed it up with a 2.43 ERA. So you're hoping that you are getting the best of what's left of deGrom, and if you had to overpay, which it sounds like maybe the Rangers had to maybe do in order to secure his services.
Yeah.
At some point, Dallas, in terms of the Cowboys, you've got to go risk it. And at some point,
for that biscuit,
go put your money where your mouth is. And Ray Davis and company have done that in arguably the biggest way that they could have by bringing in Jacob deGrom.